Welcome back to another explainer. Okay, we're diving straight into a scene today that, let's be honest, you probably know all too well. It's a silent, unspoken reality that's just kind of hiding in plain sight, right inside our own homes. Seriously, ask yourself this. Why is it that so many of us find it infinitely easier to be completely, profoundly vulnerable with absolute strangers online, rather than with the actual family members sitting literally right next to us? It's a fascinating and kind of heartbreaking psychological puzzle.
Just picture the eerie silence of a typical modern living room. Everyone is mere inches apart, sharing the exact same physical space, but they're totally absorbed in the glow of their screens. We're physically close, sure, but emotionally, we are light years apart, just pouring our souls into the digital ether.
And this quote right here really hits the nail on the head regarding our core paradox. We have essentially traded the heavy, unpredictable weight of physical family dynamics for the low-risk, easily mutable intimacy of a screen. But why? Well, let's unpack exactly how this happens.
Part 1. Liquid versus solid relationships.
To really diagnose what's going on here, we have to look through the lens of sociologist Zygmunt Bauman. He coined this brilliant term for our current era: liquid modernity. Now, historically, society was solid, right? Built on heavy, permanent structures and lifelong loyalties. But today, our human bonds don't really keep their shape anymore. There are highly fluid, transient connections that we can reshape or completely dissolve in an absolute instant.
Think about the stark contrast between these two worlds. Offline family life is solid. It demands immense effort, the stakes are super high, and you can't really escape the commitment. Online life, though, that is liquid. It offers instant gratification, low-risk interactions, and the ultimate escape hatch. You can literally just swipe away a relationship the exact second it gets a bit too difficult.
So what this means is that we have essentially consumerized human connection. Just as Bauman pointed out, we're treating relationships like disposable commodities now. We keep them around only as long as they satisfy our immediate needs, and we just toss them out the second they demand any heavy emotional sacrifice.
Part 2. The internal working model.
So why does the home feel like such a high-stakes, heavy environment in the first place? To answer that, we need to turn to John Bowlby's attachment theory. Bowlby introduced this idea of internal working models. Think of these as cognitive maps that are basically hardwired into our brains from our earliest interactions. They're constantly running in the background, assessing risk and predicting exactly how our family members will react to our emotional needs. If your internal map predicts conflict, well, your guard just instinctively goes up.
And here is how that cascade of detachment actually plays out. When there is historical asynchrony, meaning a breakdown or mismatch in how a family communicates, we lose our interpersonal emotional regulators. This triggers some really severe internal dysregulation. And the brain's ultimate survival response to that stress? Defensive detachment. We might stay physically sitting on the sofa, but psychologically we completely check out.
Part 3. Screens as secure bases.
When the dinner table turns into this emotional battlefield of unpredictable reactions, the human brain instinctively seeks an anchor somewhere else. And that's where the screen comes in. It becomes our artificial, secure base. Because unlike a stressed-out family member, your smartphone is highly predictable. It's entirely controllable. It responds instantly to what you need, and, this is absolutely crucial, it requires zero reciprocal emotional labor. It is never going to ask you how it's feeling.
This is where Bowlby's work is so eye-opening, because attachment is fundamentally about biological regulation. That means excessive screen time in a silent living room isn't just some simple, everyday addiction. No, it is a biological search for safety in a really fluid world. It's our way of compensating for a physical environment that completely failed to provide us with crucial emotional synchrony.
Part 4. Bridging the emotional gap.
So, how do we actually navigate this massive emotional gap and get some peace of mind back without just shaming ourselves or our families? Well, first we have to objectively recognize these mechanisms for what they are. These are desperate attempts at emotional regulation, not just laziness or malice. Once we get that, we can establish clear, low-pressure digital boundaries to kind of curb that liquid escapism. And finally, we have to manage our expectations. It's all about taking small, incremental steps to slowly rebuild a shared, solid reality offline.
I want to leave you with this final thought. Understanding the paradox of liquid bonds gives us the immense power to actually change it. You now know exactly why the internet feels safer than the sofa. So, what small step are you going to take to disrupt the silence in your home tonight? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.